What's up, everybody? Welcome to sounds like a new album review series. Nick and Scott are joining me on this one, and we will be going through all of the albums of The Doors, the iconic group from the 1960s, fronted by Jim Morrison. How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, I am doing just absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be very brief. My electric candidate won today, Trump. He's going to fix this country, and I'm very happy for that, and I'll just keep it at that.
All right.
I'm
Glad to see
doing
you're
good.
all having a good day.
Ready to talk about some Doors here. Been talking about doing this for a while after we finish CCR. Excited to finally get going on that because it's been a while since we've done a new series. Yeah, the Doors, man, really great, really great band. A little out there, but then I feel like that's kind of what makes them great. They're very different.
Well, we got Caleb who says, "Hi guys, The Doors a great band." All right, so I guess before we talk about this first album, what's your guys' history on The Doors, and how did you get into The Doors?
Well, my introduction to the Doors, as funny as it would be, was in the School of Rock movie with Jack Black, where Jack Black is trying to show the kid who plays the piano how he can be in his band, and gives him some sheet music to read, and he gives him the sheet music to Touch Me. And he's like, "Here, play this." And then the kid just goes, da, 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 da. And Jack Black goes, come on, now touch me, babe. Shaka-ba-da, can't you see that I am not afraid? Shaka-ba-da. And I'm like, what is this song? And why is Jack Black like singing so funny with it? I heard the real song on the radio. I'm like, that's actually a pretty good song. Later on, I was like looking up like some of the best albums of the 1960s. And of course, this album here was on there. So I thought I'd give it a listen. Full transparency, the first time I heard this album, I thought it was weird. But you know what? Repeated listens to this album have really grown my appreciation for it, and now I like it a whole lot better.
Okay. As for me, my history through the Doors, first time I've ever heard them, my dad introduced me to them. He's like, I'm going to play the Doors. And not gonna lie, I didn't like them at first because their style to me I wasn't crazy about with the keyboards, and I don't know, it just wasn't that into his voice at first. But the more I listened to like the big songs like Light My Fire and Break On Through and Alabama Whiskey Song and Touch Me and some of their other songs, I just started to appreciate them more and more. And well, how I got into them really was I listened to the debut album. I That was like one of the first 5 albums I ever bought. I even know any of the other songs on the album. I just bought it because it had 2 songs I really liked. I was really impressed with that album. Then I bought LA Woman. That's another album I only knew from the
Ooh,
hit.
I love that one. That one's amazing.
Then I really liked that album. And then I just decided one day to do a full deep dive on them from their first album all the way to the last album with Morrison. And I was really happy with those. And even the post Morrison albums, I appreciate them for what they are. And well, for a while I wasn't really into them again. For some reason, I wasn't clicking with them again. But then in senior year of high school, my history teacher was like, "I'm a big Doors fan," and well, he brought my spark back for the Doors, and I've loved them more than ever, to be honest.
All right, so I think my introduction to The Doors, I think it was around the time I was starting to broaden my horizons to other genres of music. And we had an oldie station back home. And I think the first Door song I remember hearing might have been Light My Fire. And the first time I heard the song, I didn't know who it was. I heard Jim Morrison's vocals and the way he sounded. I almost thought Roy Orbison sang it when I first heard it, strangely enough. And I'm like, this is kind of a neat song. And then slowly enough, I started listening to other Door singles that was on this oldie station, and I'm like, these are actually pretty good hit songs. And then I've started to realize put two and two together, and Um, yeah, I just think there's an interesting sound to the Doors. Jim Morrison has a unique voice. I've not heard that much organ playing in a rock band before besides this band.
Yeah.
That works at least on some of the big hit singles. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about where the series is going to go because sometimes a band can be defined by their hit singles, but sometimes the deep cuts can make or break a band. So we got Nick, your brother, is in the
Yes.
chat. He says, "What's up, guys? You all doing good?" He says, "I never listened to the Doors, but I have a door."
You need to get off this video right now, and you need to go listen to "Light My Fire."
Well, he does say "Touch Me" is a great song. Then he asked, "Have y'all seen the Val Kilmer Doors movie?" I have not.
I have not, and for a good reason. I heard that Ray Manzarek said that if Jim Morrison actually acted like he did in the Doors movie, that he wouldn't have been friends with them. So he said it's very historically inaccurate.
Yeah, watch the Soft Parade documentary. He said that's the more accurate Jim Morrison.
All right. Well, let's start diving into the album, and I guess we'll get into
background information.
All right. So the Doors. I don't feel like I'm the most qualified to have this background information, but you got Jim Morrison as the lead singer, Ray Manzarek.
That's correct.
Who plays the organ, piano. Then you have the guitarist, Robbie Krieger, and John Densmore, the drummer. The Doors was formed in the mid 1960s, I think around 1965. They actually did a lot of performances at Whiskey A Go Go before they even did an album. But they got infamously fired because of one particular song about some incoherent rambling about a mythical Oedipus king or whatever. But I think they were starting to get enough popularity to do a debut album. And so they got a record deal.
I think what happened is whenever, like the night they got kicked out, a record producer was at the club and it's like, "Hey, you might have got kicked out of the club, but do you want to sign on to our record label?"
Oh, okay. So they got that record label. They put out a debut album. The rest is history, and the reviews for it are really, really good. Many people believe it's still cited as one of the best debut albums of all time, and some people rank it as one of the best psychedelic rock albums. Spawned 2 singles, one of which is arguably probably their signature song. So, what are your guys' brief thoughts on this album?
Yeah, I think this is an amazing album from the Doors. I'd say of their 8 albums, I'd say they have like 4 or 5 like really, really like 10 out of 10 albums to me, and to me this is one of them. I think this is a great introduction to the Doors and their sound, and this definitely has that San Francisco feel of the 60s along, because like this album and like Jefferson Airplane, Surrealistic Pillow came out around this time. Grateful Dead's debut came around this time, and it's like those 3 albums are like the 3 albums of the San Francisco albums of 1967. It's weird you hear me compliment Grateful Dead, but I'd say those 3 albums are really. I mean, this one, Surrealistic Pillow, and Grateful Dead self-titled, 3 amazing albums. But this one in particular is definitely an album that I really enjoy.
Yeah, this album just has such a unique sound. I know Jim Morrison was like a poet, and so him adding his artistic poetry element in with the other 3 guys were steeped in jazz music, and they kind of wanted to combine like the psychedelic pop sound of the 60s was producing, and then combine that with more of a jazzy element, and then you take that sound and you add Jim Morrison's like kind of more artistic poetry approach to the songs, and you really have a sound that doesn't really like, you don't hear any other bands that sound like this. Like, it's very unique, and I definitely think that's why I like this, is because like I can't think of any other album that sounds like this, or even any other band that like has a similar sound to this. Like even like Jim Morrison's vocals, like he can go from this really hard rock voice to singing like Frank Sinatra sometimes even. So very, very wide range of musical talent in this particular band.
All right. Well, so I did message on the group chat when I first listened to this album in full, and I wasn't as enamored about this album as you guys. And I decided to listen to this album again to see if I was a little too harsh on it. I still am not the biggest fan of this album. Now, there are some really good songs on this album. I'll highlight the songs I really like, but I can't really say this is the best debut album I've ever heard. I don't know if it's because I struggle to connect with, I guess, the experimental sound of this album or whatnot, but there are some songs that I found very, very pretentious. But I'll share more of that when we get to some of these songs. Oh, we got Key Reviews who says if you guys would do a hip hop album review, what would it be? The Doors are awesome. To be honest, I'm not a real big hip hop guy, so I don't know what I would do if I did that. I guess I love the Hamilton soundtrack, if that counts as a hip hop album. That's
Will Smith,
Will Smith,
Big Willie style.
Will Smith,
there's like this.
Wild Wild West.
Mine's probably going to be the most out there, but there's a rap. There's like this '90s rap album, like this like Christian '90s rap album, and I remember being so starstruck with it. I'm like, this is like the last thing I'd expect. The artist is called SFC, and the album's called Phase 3. I'd actually, funny enough, I would actually review that album. Look, people probably don't. Some people don't even know. Most people don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, SFC Phase 3.
All right. Well, let's start diving into the album track by track, starting with one of two singles from this album. And if you're listening to The Doors for the first time, I think this is a really cool way to start. Break On Through to the Other Side.
Yeah, we're already off to a fantastic start to their discography. You got the drums. Bum 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 bum. Really, really good opening song. I love how the way I think Morrison really sings really great on this song. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Yeah. I like the part where week to week, day to day, hour to hour, week straight, teeth and wide. Really, I love this song, and I think Morrison really steals the show on this song in particular. Most of the time, I'd say Manzarek is like the secret sauce to the Doors, but this is like one of the few times where I'd say, yeah, Morrison really kills it.
Yeah, this is an amazing way to open the album, and every time I start a new artist series, when we get to the first song on the first album, I like to say, like, is this a good way to introduce the band? Yes, this is like the perfect way to introduce the band. Starting off with the drums, and then the keyboard do. Jim Morrison's vocals on this song are amazing. Like Nick was saying, super powerful. really good drumming here from John Densmore. I love the bridge section where he's like, "Everybody loves my baby," and then, funny enough, because it was the '60s, they had to mute the word "high" when he goes, "She get high," which, like, nowadays, if you listen to it on streaming, they unmuted it. But, like, I've listened to it on record and, like, the original version of it so many times that it kind of sounds weird actually hearing "high," just because I'm so used to hearing "She get."
Yeah.
She get. I'm so used to hearing it that way.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird with that whole censoring thing because Jefferson Airplane also had some like inappropriate lyrics for their record label, but instead of blocking it out, they just told them to like re-record it with different lyrics. So I'm surprised they didn't make them do that instead of just because it sounds weird when he does this.
It's just the word. It's just the word "high." Like, I don't know why they had to mute that. Like, there's something later in the album they muted out that I can definitely understand why they muted. But this, like, I don't know why you had to mute the word "high" like that. The Beatles can say "I get high with a little help from my friends," but Jim Morrison can't say "she get high." Like, what's up with that?
Different record labels, I guess.
I guess so. But I do really like that part. His vocals are really good, and the part Nick was talking about, where like near the end, perfect way to introduce the band. Really great song.
All right, so yeah, this is a great song. This is a really awesome way to kick off the career of the Doors. I love the way the song starts. I love that keyboard intro. Very similar to Ray Charles, how he introduced "What I Say." That keyboard intro.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was meant to be an homage to that or not, but if it is, that's really cool. But yeah, Jim Morrison definitely steals the show on this song. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. This is definitely one of the most memorable songs on the album. What do you know? A hit song. It's in my top 3. So yeah, we got some good ones there. We got Q who says Will Smith was dope. Summertime from him is one of my favorite songs. That is a good song. I also like what's that song? Miami is really good from Will Smith. Welcome to Miami. But back to the Doors.
Come on, getting jiggy with it. That's where it's at.
Oh, that one's crazy.
I mean, I'm not a hip hop fan, so when I say this, it won't be that much of a surprise. I don't care for Will Smith and his because I feel like he makes his whole personality just I don't curse, so I'm better now. Like if I'm gonna listen to rap music in the '90s, I'd rather listen to like Tupac or Biggie or something. Not Will Smith. I feel like Will Smith's whole personality is being clean cut and not cursing.
But he can splat Chris Rock.
I was about to say the music slaps.
If you're gonna say Will Smith, you say Will Smith doesn't cuss. I would beg to differ what he said right before I slapped Chris Rock.
Well, I don't mean like outside of music. I mean like in terms of in the music though, because I think him and Eminem got beef because like he's like I don't curse on the music, so I'm better than Eminem. So it's like
yeah, they couldn't even say "she get high" without them having to mute it.
Yeah. Well, next we break on through to the other side, the Soul Kitchen.
Oh, I think this song's even better than the last one. I've always loved this song. I love that cool keyboard intro. I know we were talking about this outside the stream. Jacob was comparing it to Louie Louie.
It kind of is.
I don't think it sounds anything like that song because Louie Louie. It's like dun 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 dun. With the Doors version, it's boom bum 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 bum. I listened to it before the stream. I'm like, I don't get it, to be honest. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that. But anyways, I love this song. I think this is a nice little groove of a song after Break On Through. It's it's not like rocking, but it's like kind of smooth. It's like, well, the clock says it's time to close now. I guess I'd rather go now. I'd really like to stay here all night. You know, I love the chorus. Let me sleep all night in your soul kitchen. Warm my mind near your gentle stove. Turn me out and I wonder, baby. Stumbling in the neon groves. And it's just, I love the groove of this song. It has like some there's like some kind of groove on this song that I really like. And yeah, to me, this is another standout song on the album.
I like this song as well, especially the organ playing from Raymond's Eric. The boom, boom, do, 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 do. And then like Robbie Krieger does this little thing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, once again, Jim Morrison's vocals really kind of taking center stage here, especially when he goes like the neon road. And that's probably my favorite part of the song. But yeah, this is another good one.
All right, so yeah, when I first heard the song, I heard that keyboard part, organ part, and yeah, let's do it again. It's like, yeah, they are different, yes, but the way it's structured and the way it plays, even when I was hearing it the second time, I'm like, my brain just kept wanting to hear Louie Louie for some reason. Probably because it's in the same key.
Oh, baby, I said we gotta go.
So I feel kind of bad for saying, like, for implying when I was talking to you privately, Nick, that they were ripping off Louie Louie.
Oh, I didn't get that impression at all. Don't worry. Sorry if I made you think that. No, I just don't get the similarities. I wasn't.
I feel kind of stupid because I thought it was like a direct copycat of what the other group was doing.
Okay.
But yeah, they're completely different riffs, but it still sounds very similar.
It's not like Ice Ice Baby by Ice.
Oh
Ice.
no, it's not like that. No, definitely not like that. It's not like there's a da 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 da, and then it's da 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 da. But yeah, this song, I mean, musically, the song's fine. It's kind of more of a soulful type song. I'm not really that big on this song compared to you guys. It just felt like a kind of a dry song in my opinion. To me, the hook is kind of dumb. I want to be in your soul kitchen. No, part of me is like, is Jim Morrison really that good of a writer? Because there's like 2 songs on this album that I think he's trying to he thinks he's really clever, but it comes off as really stupid.
He didn't write all the songs, by the way.
Oh, I thought, he didn't write this one?
Either I say I don't know who wrote this one, but he doesn't write every single song on this album.
Yeah, well, it says, okay, it just says all the tracks are written by the Doors, so it's like all 4 are credited.
Yeah.
So he must have had some involvement with it. But yeah, I don't care for this song personally. Musically, it's fine, but lyrically, I think it's kind of dumb. But now we leave the Soul Kitchen, and we're taking a ride on the Crystal Ship.
Okay, this song is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It's like you have this haunting ballad on this song. It's a haunting ballad. There's like 2 ballads on this album. One on this side of the album, and then one on the second side of the album. But to me, this is the better of the 2 ballads, in my opinion. This is, again, like I said, it's very haunting. You have Jim Morrison open the song with "The day destroys the night." Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong lyrics. Before you slip into unconsciousness, I'd like to have another kiss, another flashing chance at bliss, another kiss, another kiss. The days are bright and filled with pain. There's just, I love the writing on this song.
It's a lot more poetic than "Let Me Sleep All Night in Your Soul Kitchen."
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I slightly prefer Soul Kitchen for how catchy it is, but if I'm going on a writing aspect of it, this is probably the best song on the album so far. If I'm going by lyrics alone, yeah, this is a beautiful song, and the way Morrison sings on it is awesome. Yeah, I'll let you guys do the rest of the talking, but yeah, this is another one of my favorites on the album.
this song is amazing. I love the acapella opening. It's just him going before you, and then it comes in slip into unconsciousness, and then like the band comes in behind him, and like the organ just kind of creeps its way in there. Such a haunting ballad. It's so cool. This is kind of one of his crooner songs that he does. Great vocals. Man, whenever it gets into that chorus, when he gets to the crystal ship is being filled, when he gets to that part, it's just like, wow, like does this song want to be triumphant or creepy? Because it's like when you get to that part, it sounds very triumphant, but then it gets creepy again, and then it just goes like boom, 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 boom. Like the chord progression is really cool. Like it just kind of goes in and out of being both triumphant sounding and creepy sounding at the same time, and I love it for that.
All right. I actually like this song.
All right.
This one has I really love the way the song opens. The opening line definitely hooks you in. Before you slip into unconsciousness, I'd like to have another kiss. I'm like, okay. The writing is more interesting on this song. I love Morrison's vocals. It's kind of crazy how his vocals are like on this album, because some songs he like really belts it out. Other times he does weird drunken speeches. We'll get to that near the end. And then you have a song like this where he actually has a softer, smooth side. I think Scott, you made the comparison. It's almost like Frank Sinatra like.
Yeah.
There's 2 songs on this album, especially where he's like that, and it's really cool. I think this is a really good song. It actually just barely made the top 5. Yes, I do have a top 5 on this album. And this is a pretty good song. Well, next up is the 20th Century Fox, and I wish it was about the studio.
This is another song that I really liked on the album. After that haunting song that we just heard, it's like, how do you follow that up? So when I first heard the song, I really didn't like it just for how it follows up Crystal Ship. But the more I listen to it on its own, the more I really appreciate it. It's another really catchy song. She's a 20th century fox. She's a 20th century fox. I mean, maybe you guys probably read into the lyrics and you're like, this is a weird song or something. But sometimes I don't go by lyrics. Sometimes I just go by how catchy it is. So maybe I might be the biggest fan of the song for that. Because sometimes I'm like, this is a really good song. And like, for example, the David Bowie album, there was a song that I'm like, I really like this song. And Scott and Brian are like, the lyrics on the song are really creepy. I'm like, that's true, but it's catchy.
What was that? Uncle Arthur? What was it?
Yeah, Uncle Arthur. I forgot what it was at first, but yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw you guys review of that album earlier today. I'm like, it sounds like a weird album.
Yeah, I'll say not all of Bowie's albums are like that. That his first album is very different than the rest of his work.
Well, his entire discography is different from the rest.
Yeah.
He's the chameleon. But going back to 20th Century Fox, again, I like the musicianship on here. Especially, I like the keyboard playing. I don't think it's like a big thing on the song, but again, I think the chorus is fun. It's not like one of my favorites on the album. If anything, it's in my bottom 3. But that should just prove how great this album is to me. Where a song like this could be like, I really like this song, but it's like in my bottom 3, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a fun song, but it is probably ranking near the bottom because there's just so many good songs on this album. I think it's fun, but yeah, Jacob's probably going to say this, but I do think the hook is kind of stupid. She's a 20th century fox. That's like one of those, like those groaner puns. It's like, oh, yeah, like she's a foxy lady, like what Jimi Hendrix was saying, but at the same time, that's also a movie studio. Ha, 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 ha. Like, once you get past that, it's like, okay, you know what? Like, that was funny for like 5 seconds, but like, I don't know who wrote the lyrics to this song, but like, you have this on the one hand, and then you have "Light My Fire," which we'll get to in a minute, which is like, okay, like that. The lyrics of that is so much better. But still, it's a fun song musically. Still ranks towards the bottom though.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about the song. I like some of the guitar work, but it's the hook. I think the hook is so lame. Like sometimes I like a song that has a cool play on words. I think whenever we get to Paul McCartney, Hell on Wheels, that's
Yeah.
clever. I like that. She's a 20th century fox. I'm like, no, no,
Yes.
that's dumb. Like,
Yes.
give me Foxy Lady any day. And also, if I want to hear a song where like Nick, you're gonna destroy me for this. If I want to hear a song where it's just a repeated line nonstop and it's kind of stupid, but it's kind of catchy at the same time, give me Hanky Panky any day.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. I'm not going to destroy you. I'm not going to be like that's it. I'm leaving.
Hey, we can all agree it's better than Wooly Bully.
Wooly bully.
Bully Bully.
Who's
like
walking in the woods?
I kind of like Wooly Bully. It's better than Little Red Riding Hood.
Who's here when working in the woods?
Oh, we go to Little Red Riding Hood. All right.
Jason actually likes that song.
Well, next up we have the Alabama song, aka Whiskey Bar.
Okay, so here's my biggest hot take. I think this is the best song on the album.
Oh,
I love this song. It's so fun. I love it sounds like I'm in a German Oktoberfest pub.
Pretty much.
Like I could just imagine like being in Germany and they're all dressed in like I can't think of what the clothes
Lederhosen.
Yeah, Lederhosen, just them in their Lederhosen while Jim Morrison's just doing like a German dance singing Alabama, ask you why. I love this song. I mean, this is such a fun song. I get it. I get why one particular person isn't really the biggest fan of it, but to me, this is one of my favorite Doors songs.
This is not my favorite song on the album, but I still actually really like this song. I think it's fun. Yeah, it's weird. It's actually a cover. I think it's like a traditional song. Not positive though. But it's like a drinking song. It's like you got to find the next whiskey bar. I think the funnest part, the most fun part of this song is that piano thing that Ray Manzarek does. That it's just such a weird sound. That and his keyboards, it's like bump 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 bump, like he's doing the bass part on a keyboard, and it's kind of got that papa that Nick was talking about.
Oh, it almost kind of sounds like a tuba almost.
Yeah, it almost does.
Oh,
and then
I thought that was a tuba.
No, it's Ray Manzarek.
Oh, okay.
But like, it just sounds like they're all drunk in a bar when they're singing that, especially when they get to the chorus, like yeah, it's fun. It is not my favorite song on the album, but I still really like it. It's fun.
All right, hot take alert.
Uh-oh.
The song sucked. I hated it. Yeah, I don't even get the appeal of this song, to be honest. Like, you have the whole Jim Morrison singing so obnoxiously. I get it that it's like it's supposed to be a drinking song, but this is like the most obnoxious drinking song I've ever heard in my life. Cause I can't imagine why anyone would want to like do the things that they're doing in this song and like dance to it with especially with that weird piano part every time Jim Morrison sings, it's like and like it almost sounded like a horror movie vibe almost, and it was very distracting when listening to it. And I really could not stand the organ solo on this song. It just felt like Ray was like just pounding keys, then he wouldn't shut up on it. I thought this was a very obnoxious song. This is easily, if it wasn't for a certain kind of rambling, this would be my least favorite song on the album.
Ooh.
So I didn't like it. But well, we got one more song on side one. Is it any better?
I hope so.
Well, it's actually the biggest hit on the album. It's called Light My Fire.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite as good as Alabama Song in my opinion, but it's iconic and I really like it. I will say when I was working at that one place and they were shoving down the Hawk down my throat. This and Bread Gone Through were two songs that I heard on a regular basis, so it's a little bit of overplayedness that kind of prevents those two big hits from being in my top 5. Just wanted to get that clear, by the way. Yeah, I like this song. I will say I like the jam session, but I think it does go on for a little too long. In my opinion, it's great. Like once in a while, listening to the full version, but most of the time when I listen to this version, I just usually listen to the single version for me because of how much I heard it on the radio.
This song is amazing. Like the little keyboard intro. And then I think that this is probably lyrically the best song on the album. Very poetic. Like some of the lines, like they use big words like funeral pyre and wallow in the mire. But the musicianship is very good on this song, especially like that keyboard I was talking about earlier. Then there's like an extended instrumental section, which has some really good keyboard playing, some amazing drumming from John Densmore, a really good guitar solo from Roger Krieger. I will say, though, Nick, I do think you're right. It does kind of go on a little too long, which is funny because I like long instrumental songs, but it's weird because this song is, for the most part, kind of a pop song, and so hearing this long of an extended instrumental in an otherwise very like commercial sounding pop song is kind of off-putting, I guess. I'm with you. Like maybe like it should have been trimmed down, and I have listened to the single version of this song, and I think that does definitely help a lot. Like a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, sacrilege!" Like I was definitely getting into the jam today, but it's like, you know, with this particular song, it kind of helps to make it short and sweet, you know, more memorable. Like there's other songs on this album that you can get that long jamming on. You got the end for that, like, but still, I still really like the jamming. Really great display of musicianship. These guys are just locked into that groove the whole time. Super fun getting to hear them like each take turns and get their solos. And then we haven't even talked about Jim Morrison's vocals yet. Like amazing. I love the chord progression in the chorus when it goes to the "Come on, baby, light my fire." When it goes to the bow, 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 like that chord there. Really interesting. And I like at the very end when it goes, "Try to set the night on fire," and it goes back to the do 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 do. Really cool way to end the song. Like I like how like they could have just ended it with "Trying to set the night on fire" and just stopped right there, but then like they get that do 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 do. It goes like they're going back into it. I think that's a really cool way to end the song.
Maybe if there's like an in between version.
Yeah, I want an in between version. I want to have definitely the full singing, but I want a little bit of. I think the problem is that Ray Manzarek's keyboard part goes on for too long. Like he does a solo, and then Robbie Krieger does a solo, and then Ray does a second solo. And it's like maybe a little less Ray, like maybe have like his first or second solo, and then have Robbie's solo.
Yeah,
But don't let Ray have two solos. I mean, Ray Manzarek is one of the best keyboard players, but like I don't know, maybe two solos was a little like I don't know how long is this. It says it's 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Wow, so about the same as Bohemian Rhapsody. That's funny because this feels a lot longer than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, probably because Bohemian Rhapsody changes a lot, though.
That's probably why.
The song like kind of stays the same kind of throughout the song.
But yeah, no, amazing song either way. I'm just nitpicking, okay? You when you get to my top 5 and you see where I rank this song, like you know I love this song. It's just I'm nitpicking.
All right, so yeah, this was my introduction to the Doors. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, of course I heard it on the radio. So my introduction to the song was the single version, which was probably 2.5 minutes. I think I remember buying this song on iTunes at one point because I really liked the song when I used to have iTunes, and that's when I realized it was a longer song on the album, and it kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, I don't remember these solos being that long when I first heard it. But then I'm glad I heard the full album version because I thought the instrumental solos were really cool. The thing I love the most about this song is the jam session. I love the keyboard solo. I think it's really awesome. I love the percussion part. I really love the part where like the drums and the keyboard are kind of like in sync with one another, where it's like like that part is really cool. And then the guitar solo is pretty awesome as well. I guess I see where you're coming from. It does go on a little too long. I have heard this song. I've heard the full version on other stations, and I think hearing it on a radio, I think I'd rather hear the single version. On the album, I definitely want to hear the full version. That's pretty much how I feel on the song. I love Jim Morrison's vocals. There are some cool lyrics in there, like Scott, you already mentioned. I think Morrison's best vocal delivery is probably at the end of the song where he belts the "Try to set the night on fire." I botched it, but yeah, this is definitely an iconic song. Definitely one of the best Doors songs for a reason. Definitely, and I will say the 2 singles are in my top 2 if that says anything about this album and my stance on it. But that's the end of side 1. Now it's time to flip the record over. We have The Backdoor Man.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good way to open up the second side of the album. I thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna be honest, this is my least favorite song on the album. I wouldn't say it's bluesy, but I don't know. This style of song just doesn't fit with me like the rest of the songs on the album. Funny enough, this is like a pretty big, not like a hit song per se, but it's a fan favorite amongst Door fans, and I never really got why. It's not a terrible song. Like I said, I like it. I like the "I'm your back door man." Like I know it's pretty vulgar, but like pretty vulgar lyrics if you know what a backdoor man is. But I say it's like a good like I like that part, those parts, but besides that, it's not like a song that I ever go back to.
The backdoor man is the guy that sneaks out the back when the husband gets home.
Yeah, it's true. That's definitely not. I want to be your backdoor man.
No, that's actually what it means.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think it means, Nick?
It's not what I think it is. It actually there is another backdoor man.
Yeah, nowadays, but back in this is the '60s, man. Like it's an old blues song, and that meant the guy who sneaks out the back door when the husband gets home. That's what they meant.
Yeah.
They ain't talking about that.
That's That's even an AC/DC song, "Dirty Deeds and the Thunder Sheep."
You made me spit with that misheard lyric. The Dirty Deeds and the Thunder Sheep. Anyway, it's a oh boy. Okay, it's a pretty good song. Yeah, I'm kind of a Nick. This isn't really my favorite song on this album, and I like it probably more than Nick does. Or I don't know, maybe. It ranks a little higher on the album. It's a fun song. It was written by Willie Dixon. It says here, and if you've ever have looked Willie Dixon and some of the songs he's written, very influential with rock musicians, especially with Led Zeppelin, who have gotten in trouble with his estate many times because of ripping off some of his songs. But it's a fun song, and I really like Jim Morrison's vocal delivery, especially on there's one line where he's like something about "I'm gonna eat my chicken" or something like that. I don't know the line specifically, but it's just something like "I'll eat my chicken," something like that. I'm like, why do I like that so much?
All right, this one's just to me. Like, it's not an awful song. I like the guitar work on it. There's some decent vocals from Jim, but to me, it's just a pretty average blues cover, no more, no less. That's all I have to say on it. All right, next up is "I Looked at You."
Yeah, this is another song that I really liked on the album. This one, I forgot which comment section it was, but there was a comment section that perfectly described the song. It's a psychedelic surf song. This sounds like something that the Beach Boys would make if they made psychedelic surf songs. Like if like Brian Wilson never pushed them away from surf songs, but they still decided to go psychedelic anyway. This sounds like something that the Beach Boys would do, and I love it. It's such a fun song. And I'm on my way. Boom. I looked at you. You looked at me. And I'm on my way. This is another. This is in my bottom three, but just to go show how good this album is. So I love this song, but again, it's not like a top 5 song. But man, I thought this is another fun song on the album.
This is a really underrated song on this album. Like, it's got a very unique sound. Like Nick was saying, it does kind of sound like the Beach Boys, but at the same time, it's got kind of that eerie psychedelic feel to it. Love the vibe of this song. It's just such a unique vibe here.
Yeah, I would say this is probably the biggest bop on the album.
Yeah.
I think of the Doors, and I don't really think of a song like this, but it actually suited them very well. I thought this was a very catchy song. It had a really cool organ solo on it from Ray that I liked. It's funny. You guys were comparing it to the Beach Boys. I thought, if the Doors didn't do this song, I think if you had a few harmonies in it, I think this would be a great Hollies song, if I'm being honest. But
I don't hear it, to be honest.
I think it's a cool song. This one made my top 5. I thought this is a very underrated song. And then we got Into the Night. If I remember correctly, I think this was the B-side. Yeah, this was the B-side to Break On Through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I like this song slightly better than Break On Through. It could have been a great double A-side single.
I also add the other ballad, The Crystal Ship, was the B-side, The Light My Fire.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think Crystal Ship's a lot better than Light My Fire. But again, they could have made it a double A-side single. But I digress. This is the ballad I was talking about. This is the second ballad on the album, and it's so cool. End of the night. I wouldn't say it's ballad, but it's a slow song, I should say. I don't know if ballad would be a good way to describe it, but it's actually slow and eerie. It's like an eerie psychedelic song, like end of the night, end of the night. And there's like this ears rotations. I can't replicate it, but there's a lot of far out things going on in this song, and yeah, this another really good song on the album for me. This made my top 5.
This song has such a freaky vibe, but it's like cool freaky. It's not like freaky that actually scares you like a specific other Doors song we're gonna have to talk about eventually that has to do with the Lizard King. But like this one is kind of a cool freaky sound to it. It's just kind of foreboding and moody. I love the keyboard playing on here. I can only imagine what it would be like hearing this song in the 60s. Like being like
more on drugs.
yeah, like having you just hear all this normal pop music and then someone's like, hey, want to listen to the Doors? Or like, what's the Doors? And like they play this album, you get all these amazing songs, and then you get to hear and you'd probably be like, how'd they make that song? With all the weird sounds in this song. It's so cool. Such a cool song on this album.
This song made my top 3.
Wow.
This is an awesome ballad. I think it's better than Crystal Ship.
Oh, wow.
This is an excellent song. This was probably the best discovery when listening to this album. Which is weird because this is one of the more psychedelic songs, but I thought I think it added to the texture very well. It's almost hypnotic like the way Jim Morrison goes, into the night. It almost has like this kind of like this nightmarish, dreamlike feel to it, which that's weird comparing it to like a nightmare, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a slightly creepier version of Ripples by Genesis, but yet it still has a lot. It still has a lot of cool layers to it that I really like.
Okay.
It's a cool song.
It is. I don't see that comparison, but all right.
It's a comparison.
End of the night.
It's a cool song. If Ripples is like the positive end, like this is the creepier end. But both songs work.
End of the night.
All right. Well, I guess the best advice to make after that weird comparison is take it as it comes.
Yeah, I love this song. This is like a really fast-paced song because it's like, yeah, we're preparing you for the last song on the album because it's a really slow song. So they're like, let's give you probably the fastest song on the album, like right away. Time to live, time to lie, time to laugh, time to die. Take it easy, baby. Take it as it comes. Don't move too fast if you want your love to last. And what makes it really good, what really puts it up top of the edge is the keyboard. So this is in my top 2.
This is probably like the most straightforward song on the album, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way. Like it's not really extremely out there, but it's kind of cool hearing the Doors do a more traditional sounding song. I'm surprised they didn't release this as a single because it's very catchy, and I feel like it would have done well if they'd have released it as the 3rd single. It's a very good song. Like even though it's straightforward, like it works really well, especially in the context of here you get that super creepy End of the Night, and then you got this. It's like, oh, okay, well I guess things are getting a little bit more normal. But then all they're doing is just psyching you out because after that's the end.
All right. This is another one where it's like, it's all right. I get this one and I looked at you mixed up, if I'm being honest. Like the songs are like so similar to one another. And if I had to say which one's more memorable, it'd be the other song. But this one's not bad. It's pretty good for what it is. Pretty good production, good vocals, but it's not one of my favorites. And then we end the album with probably the most accurate title to end an album. This is the end.
In the end. The love
Yeah, I
you
remember-
take is equal to the love you make. Oh wait,
remember
that's
when
the wrong song.
Yeah, wrong one. That's a much better to the end.
I remember when I first heard the song, because my dad introduced me, he's like, I'm going to play The End by The Doors. I'm like, The End by The Doors? What do you mean by the Beatles? He's like, different The End. And this song is mind-blowing. I wasn't as into how long it was at first, but this is like one of those songs where the more you really dissect it and you really listen to it, the more you appreciate it. Maybe not like, oh, I love this song now, but it's a song where it's like once you listen to it enough times and you really dissect it, you'll be like, this may not be a song that I like, but I respect the heck out of what they were trying to do, what Morrison was trying to do specifically, because yeah, this is definitely even though it's credited to all the guys in the band, this is definitely a Morrison thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't see any of the other members contributing to this. But first, let's get into the actual song itself. I call it the song portion of the song. Of course, I really like it. Of course, whenever I think about it, I think about Apocalypse Now, the movie, the beginning of that movie. This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end. And just, I love that portion of the song. And then you get this kind of trippy kind of like section where it's just like the drums go crazy and the guitars start going all over the place. And then you get to Morrison going through more of his. Then I'd say the rest of the song's more of the poetic part of the song.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too in depth on this because it'll make the video be really long, and me explaining it will probably be just as long as the song itself. So I don't want to do that to you guys. But basically, it's like Greek poetry. I do like the part. My favorite part of the song is when, part of the poetry part of the track is when he goes, "Father, yes, son, I want to kill you. Mother, I want to." Ah! It's like, what the heck? But I love it though. I mean, for me, I think it's such a cool track. Come on, baby, take a chance with us. Because there's a little bit singing at the end too. But yeah, I love this song. I know this is gonna be divisive. It's funny when me and Scott reviewed this on my channel back when me and Scott were gonna do the Door series with just me and him. I wasn't crazy about the song, but in recency, I've really been liking this track.
Didn't this used to be your least favorite Doors song?
Yes, it was.
It's definitely one that takes a lot of listens to understand. So I used to hate this song as well. I thought it's so long, like there's a lot of incoherent rambling. It's like, what is this? When I was listening to it today to prepare for this review, I was just like, I can't believe I actually kind of like this now. And the more I thought about it, I thought, okay, no, I guess I really like this. This song is very much a picture of, like, it's a Vietnam War song. Like, a lot of Vietnam vets have identified with this song because it says this is the end. It's like if they feel like they were going off to war and it was very much the end. And there's like a part about getting on the blue bus or whatever that's supposed to be like getting drafted. The blue bus is getting drafted. And that this song basically is a representation of kind of the paranoia that the Vietnam War gave people. I don't know what the world riding the snake is, but I definitely can understand how some of like the crazy instrumental stuff going on here it's called the end. Like that kind of feels like the uncertainty of what's going to happen if you're going off to war. And then it does kind of get weird in the middle with that poetry thing where he's like the killer went down the hall and said, "Father, yes, son, I want to kill you." It's like, what in the world? Like, well, that comes from a Greek myth, Oedipus Rex, but it's like, why are you putting this in this song? That's so weird. And then like at the end, it just kind of gets into this part where they're playing this frenetic instrumental section. It just keeps getting faster and faster and faster and faster. And Ray Manzarek is just going like, and then it slows down again and it gets back to the "This is the end" section. I like this song a lot more. I mean, a lot more than I did the first time I heard it.
All right. It's complicated because, okay, I will say when I first heard this song, I hated it.
Me
I
too.
heard it on a classic rock station, and I thought it was drawn out, pretentious garbage. I did watch the movie Apocalypse Now one time, and I like how that song was used in that movie. Like, it opens the movie, and you see, like, the big explosions going on in Vietnam. I'm like, this song actually works in this movie in that setting. And I guess if you look at it as a Vietnam song, it works. So I will say I like the first part of this song. Like, I think if you reduce this down to like a 3-4 minute song with like the meat of what this song is supposed to be, this would have been my favorite song on the album. I think it's a very haunting track. Some really good guitar work on it. But then the rest of the song, I don't know why there's the riding the snake. I don't get what that's all about. And then I don't even know what Jim Morrison was on when he decided to do that Oedipus Greek rambling and screaming incoherently like he lost his mind. And then like the event that turns into like Revolution 9 at the end, like all the instruments going crazy. And then there's the part of the song where like Jim Morrison starts saying the F-bomb for no reason. It's like he just discovered that word for the first time and he just wanted to say it like he was a 12-year-old naughty schoolboy or whatever, predating that stupid Rolling Stone song.
I will say that wasn't originally in the song. I think that he just said that to kind of keep the time, and then like they mixed it out. But then when they were remixing the song for Apocalypse Now, they discovered that and put it back in the song. But I listened to it on my record here, and you can't hear that at all.
Yeah. I think on a lot of I guess when they restored the album, I guess they must have added it back in. I guess because artists can cuss now, and we'll have to.
Honestly, I think it works better without it because it focuses more on the instruments, and the instruments are kind of ramping up and going faster and faster at that part.
But I think considering a lot of people know it the other way, I think it really dumbs down the song, much like that Rolling Stones song off of Goat's Head Soup. But yeah, it's complicated because I want to love this song. If there was a condensed version of this song somewhere that's like 4 minutes long, 3-4 minutes long, I think it'd be arguably the best Doors song of all time. But on this album, where it's almost 12 minutes long and it's got all that pretentious garbage, it is garbage. All right. So what's everybody's top 5?
Okay. Before I give my top 5, I'll give 3 honorable mentions. Light My Fire, Break On Through, and The End. Those are my 3 honorable mentions. Number 5, End of the Night. Number 4, The Crystal Ship. Number 3, Soul Kitchen. Number 2, Take It As It Comes. Number 1, Alabama Song, parentheses, Whiskey Bar.
I'm going to give one honorable mention, and that's going to be I Looked at You, which really should have been in my top 5, but it's like there's so many good songs on here. Number 5, which was my honorable mention, but I switched it around at last minute, End of the Night. Number 4, The End. I'm going to be the only one who has this in my top 5. Number 3.
That surprised me, actually. I thought it would be in Nick's top 5.
Number 3, Crystal Ship. Number 2, Break On Through to the Other Side, and number 1, Light My Fire.
Yeah, the song grew on me, but it didn't grow on me that much.
Oh, it grew on me a lot more.
All right. Well, I don't really have a big honorable mention, but I do have a top 5. So for me, number 5, The Crystal Ship. Number 4, I Looked at You. Number 3, End of the Night. Number 2, Light My Fire. Number 1, Break On Through.
All right.
All right. So what are we going to rate this album?
I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
All right.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's got potential to be even better, but songs kind of like 20th Century Fox kind of bring it down a little bit, but not that much. Like, it's still an amazing album, very ahead of its time in the 60s. Really unique sound. I just don't like it as much as some other stuff, but like still fantastic. That's why I'm giving it a 9.
All right. So I was torn tonight on what I was going to rate this album. I've listened to the album twice, although I skimmed through most of the end the second time. I think this is an overrated album. There's some good stuff on it. I love the singles. There's a couple good deep cuts on it, but there's at least 4 songs I don't care for. 2 are just not good, and then 2 are just awful. So that really brings it down. I originally gave this a 5 out of 10, but to be honest, I think giving it a 5 would be a major disservice because I do get the appeal of this album, especially musically. I mean, this was like seen as one of the pioneering psychedelic rock albums. And if you really like psychedelic rock, I can see this being a 10 out of 10 album. But some of these songs I just didn't care for personally. But I think at the end of the day, reminds me of, I'm reminded, my thoughts on this are like Led Zeppelin 1. It's like Led Zeppelin 1's considered a groundbreaking album. It's like, I respect it more than I love it, but it's not bad. There's like the best songs on the album make it worth a recommend, in my opinion. So, long story short, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And I averaged the score for the 3 of us. I brought it down a little bit, but I rounded it to an 8.25 for the 3 of us, which it's not bad.
Not awful.
Not awful.
I have a feeling you'll like some of their other stuff better. Mainly like Waiting for the Sun and LA Woman.
Yeah, we'll see. But we'll find that out when we get there. The next album in the Doors series is Strange Days is next.
Mm-hmm.
Which People Are Strange is the big song on that album. I love that song. So
yeah. People are strange.
Also, Love Me 2 Times is also pretty big.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know that song.
Love Me 2 Times, baby.
It's a good one.
All right. So thank you all for tuning into the review of the Doors debut. Thank you for all who commented on the live chat. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Any final thoughts before we end the stream?
I am looking forward to continuing this series because there's going to be a lot of positives coming from this guy.
This is the end.
And hopefully I will give a Doors album higher than a 6.
Me too.
We'll find out.
All right. Find out next time. Same Jacob time. Same Jacob channel.
Bye.
Good night.